The Forbidden Faiths, Christianity's most controversial banned sects. Christianity, as we know it today, is the product of centuries of theological battles, political maneuvering, and outright suppression of dissenting voices. But what if I told you that some of the earliest and most radical followers of Jesus believed in ideas so shocking that they were declared heretical and erased from history? From secret knowledge that promised divine enlightenment to radical beliefs that challenged the very nature of God, these banned Christian sects once had thousands, sometimes millions, of followers before they were silenced. Today, we uncover the lost faiths of Gnosticism, Arianism, Catharism, Bogomilism, and Nestorianism, the forbidden sects that mainstream Christianity doesn't want you to know about. 1. Gnosticism, the gospel of secret knowledge. Imagine a Christianity where the God of the Old Testament was not the true God, but a malevolent creator who trapped humanity in a prison of flesh. That's what the Gnostics believed. To them, Jesus wasn't just a savior. He was a divine messenger sent to awaken humans to the secret knowledge, gnosis, that could free them from this material world. Gnostics rejected the idea that salvation came from faith or church rituals. Instead, it was found in understanding the hidden truths of the universe. Their scriptures, like the Gospel of Thomas and the Gospel of Mary, contained cryptic sayings of Jesus that hinted at deeper mystical wisdom, but the church saw Gnosticism as a direct threat. If salvation came from personal enlightenment rather than obedience to church doctrine, the entire religious hierarchy would crumble. By the 4th century, Gnostic texts were burned, their followers were persecuted, and their teachings were branded as dangerous heresy. But fragments of their wisdom survived, hidden away in ancient scrolls that would resurface centuries later. 2. Arianism, the belief that nearly rewrote Christianity. What if Jesus wasn't God, but simply the greatest being that God ever created? That was the core belief of Arianism, a movement started by a priest named Arius in the 4th century. Arians argued that Jesus was divine in a sense, but not eternal or equal to God the Father. Instead, they believed he was a created being, higher than humans and angels, but still subordinate to God. This idea sent shockwaves through the early church, sparking one of the biggest theological battles in history. The debate reached its peak at the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD, where Emperor Constantine stepped in, not just as a ruler, but as a religious referee. The result? Arianism was condemned, and the doctrine of the Trinity, where Jesus is fully God, co-eternal with the Father, was enforced. But Arianism refused to die easily. It spread among Germanic tribes and persisted for centuries, outliving even the Roman Empire. Eventually, however, political and military power crushed Arianism, and it faded into history, its remnants only surviving in the echoes of modern Unitarian beliefs. 3. Catharism, the pure ones who challenged the Pope. If the Catholic Church claimed to be the sole path to God, the Cathars wanted nothing to do with it. Emerging in the 12th century in southern France, the Cathars, also known as the Good Christians, believed that the entire material world was the creation of an evil force, and that the true God was entirely spiritual. They rejected church sacraments, wealth, and even the cross, arguing that Jesus' true message had been corrupted. Their radical ideas threatened the power of the Catholic Church, and Pope Innocent III declared them a danger to Christianity itself. What followed was one of the most brutal religious campaigns in history, the Albigensian Crusade, 1209 to 1229. Entire Cathar villages were slaughtered. The famous phrase, "Kill them all, God will know his own," was reportedly spoken by a papal commander when asked how to distinguish Cathars from Catholics. But even after the bloodshed, the church wasn't done. The Inquisition, originally created to hunt down remaining Cathars, became a powerful tool for crushing all heretical movements in Europe. The Cathars were wiped out, their ideas erased, at least until whispers of their beliefs began resurfacing centuries later. 4th Bogomilism, the dualist revolution that shook Europe. In the 10th century, deep within the Byzantine Empire, a radical Christian sect arose, one that saw the entire physical world as the work of Satan. The Bogomils, influenced by Gnostic and dualist beliefs, claimed that the God worshipped by mainstream Christianity was actually a deceiver, and that Jesus had come to expose the truth. They rejected church authority, refused to bow to rulers, and denounced materialism. Their message spread like wildfire across Bulgaria, Serbia, and even Western Europe, inspiring other radical movements like the Cathars. But just like the Cathars, the Bogomils were seen as a direct threat to both the church and the state. Persecution followed. Byzantine emperors burned their books, Catholic and Orthodox rulers branded them as heretics, and the Ottoman Empire, upon conquering the Balkans, forced many to convert to Islam or face death. By the 15th century, the once powerful Bogomil movement had all but disappeared. 5. Nestorianism, the faith that survived exile. At the heart of Nestorianism was a simple but revolutionary idea. Jesus had two separate natures, one fully human and one fully divine. This may not sound controversial today, but in the 5th century it was enough to spark one of the biggest schisms in Christian history. The movement was named after Nestorius, the Patriarch of Constantinople, who refused to call Mary the Mother of God, arguing instead that she was only the mother of Christ's human nature. The Church saw this as a dangerous division of Christ's identity, and at the Council of Ephesus in 431 AD, Nestorius was condemned, and his followers were driven out of the Roman Empire. But instead of vanishing, Nestorian Christianity thrived in exile, spreading into Persia, India, and even China. For centuries, the Church of the East was one of the most widespread Christian movements in the world, reaching as far as Mongolia and influencing cultures far beyond Europe. Although greatly diminished today, Nestorian communities still survive, carrying the legacy of a faith that defied Rome.